Right now, more men are living alone than at any point in modern history. Not because they're avoiding people, not because something is wrong with them, simply because life stopped forcing them into shared spaces the way it used to. No roommate, no girlfriend, no wife waiting at home. Just him, his apartment, and a routine he built entirely on his own terms. Here's the strange part. A lot of these men aren't miserable. They cook their own meals, keep their own schedule, come home to silence, and somehow describe their life as calm rather than empty. Meanwhile, the outside world keeps assuming that a man alone must be a man who is missing something. Family members ask when he'll settle down. Friends assume he's secretly sad. Dating apps treat his single status as a problem waiting to be solved. So what is actually happening inside the mind of a man who lives alone without a partner, and why does it change him in ways most people never notice from the outside? Today, let's explore this, looking closely at the psychology behind solitary living and what it quietly does to how a man sees himself, his independence, and eventually, the women in his life. If you're a man who lives alone right now, some of this is going to feel uncomfortably familiar, and if you're not, think about the men around you who live this way. A brother, a coworker, a friend who always seems fine on his own. By the end of this video, you'll understand something most people get wrong about solitary men, including, maybe, the ones closest to you. Here's where most people get it wrong. They assume a man living alone is simply a man who hasn't found love yet. Someone stuck in a waiting room until the right woman shows up and finally starts his real life. But that's not what's happening in his head at all. Somewhere along the way, without ever announcing it, this man stopped seeing solitude as a waiting room and started treating it as a home. Research in social psychology has long drawn a sharp line between being alone and being lonely, and that difference matters more than most people realize. Loneliness is a painful gap between the connection you want and the connection you actually have. Solitude is something else entirely. It's chosen space, and chosen space doesn't hurt the same way. A man who lives alone and has built his days around his own rhythm, his own silence, his own decisions, isn't necessarily suffering from a lack of people. He may simply be experiencing something psychologists call self-concept clarity, a stronger, steadier sense of who he is, built without needing someone else's presence to define it. Picture him on an ordinary Tuesday night. He comes home and there's no one to check in with, no shared opinion about dinner, no negotiation over the volume of the TV. He decides everything, and after enough years of that, his identity stops bending around another person's preferences. He knows exactly how he likes his coffee, exactly when he wants to talk and when he doesn't, exactly what a good day feels like to him and only him. And this is where the quiet paradox lives. The less a man needs someone else to feel like himself, the harder it becomes for someone else to feel needed by him. Independence, if it grows unchecked for long enough, doesn't just protect a man from loneliness, it slowly rewires what closeness even means to him. Think about the last time you saw a man like this turn down help he clearly needed, not out of pride, but because asking simply never crossed his mind anymore. That's not coldness. That's a nervous system that has spent years being its own backup plan, and it doesn't unlearn that pattern just because a woman walks into the picture. To understand how this pattern takes root, we need to look at two forces working quietly underneath the surface. The first is comfort calcification. The second is a shift in what he actually measures love against. Barrier 1. Comfort calcification. In the beginning, solitude is simply practical. He lives alone because it's convenient, or because a relationship ended, or because he's focused on work. But comfort has a way of hardening into identity if it's left alone long enough. Psychologists sometimes call this the mere ownership effect, the tendency to value something more and resist changing it simply because it's already his. His apartment, his silence, his exact way of folding laundry at midnight instead of talking to anyone. These things stop being circumstances and start becoming attachments in their own right. Picture him rearranging his entire weekend around a hobby, a workout schedule, or a solo trip without once checking if it fits someone else's calendar, because for years, there's been no one else's calendar to check. Barrier 2, a shifted reference point for connection. When a man spends long stretches of time without a partner, his brain doesn't stay neutral, it recalibrates. Researchers in relationship psychology describe this as a change in comparison level, the internal benchmark we use to judge whether a new relationship is worth the disruption it brings. If his baseline has become deep quiet and full control over his own space, then even a warm, healthy relationship can start to register as noise, as friction, as something requiring effort his current life doesn't ask of him. It's not that he stops wanting connection, it's that connection now has to clear a much higher bar than it used to, just to feel worth the trade. And here is where the real cost shows up. The longer this goes unexamined, the more his standards quietly shift from what actually makes a relationship good to what most resembles the ease he already has. He starts noticing every small inconvenience a partner brings before he notices what she offers. Plans that require compromise start to feel heavier than they should. Some men in this pattern don't consciously choose to stay single. They simply keep finding reasons why now still isn't the right time, year after year, until independence has quietly become the relationship he's already in. The good news is that none of this is permanent. These patterns were built slowly through repetition, which means they can be loosened the same way. So let's talk about how a man in this position can actually open that door back up without losing the parts of himself that solitude helped him build. Step 1. Name the comfort before defending it. Instead of assuming your routine is simply how you are, ask yourself honestly which parts of it are genuine preference and which parts have just gone unquestioned for years. A simple way to start is saying to yourself, is this something I actually need or something I've just never had to give up? That single question interrupts comfort calcification before it makes the decision for you. Step 2. Deliberately lower the entry cost of connection. Since your comparison level has quietly risen, you don't fix it by forcing a huge leap, you fix it with small, low-friction contact that doesn't threaten your space. Instead of imagining a full relationship, try texting someone you're interested in something specific and light, like, "There's a new place near me, want to check it out Saturday?" Small, easy invitations keep the bar low enough for connection to actually clear it. Step 3. Practice sharing control in tiny doses. Independence isn't the enemy here, rigidity is. Pick one small decision each week and hand it to someone else on purpose. Where to eat, what to watch, how the evening goes. Say it plainly. You choose this time. I'm good with whatever. This retrains your nervous system to experience shared decisions as safe instead of as loss. Step 4. Separate solitude from avoidance. Ask yourself if you're staying in tonight because you genuinely want quiet or because reaching out feels like more effort than it's worth. Try setting a simple personal rule, one social or dating interaction per week, no matter how settled your schedule feels. This keeps the door open even after your baseline is shifted. Step 5. Let a relationship interrupt your routine on purpose. You don't need to abandon the life you built alone, you need to prove to yourself it can bend without breaking. Choose one recurring habit, a Sunday routine, a solo hobby, and consciously make room for someone else inside it every so often. That's how closeness stops feeling like a threat to your identity and starts feeling like an extension of it. In the end, a man who lives alone isn't broken, and he isn't automatically better off either. He's simply someone whose mind adapted to the life in front of him the way anyone's would. The danger was never solitude itself, it was letting solitude quietly write all the rules without ever being questioned again. If this video described your life or the life of a man you know, tell us in the comments what your own version of comfort calcification looks like. The small routine you'd have the hardest time giving up for someone else. Your answers help other men recognize this pattern in themselves too. If you want more videos that go this deep into the psychology behind everyday behavior, subscribe and stay with us. Thank you for spending time with Wiser You today.